I am joined today by Diana Bagas, who is a recent friend of mine and has come into my orbit in the last year. She started off her career in sales and marketing and joined companies such as CBS Radio and Oracle before starting her own company, Launch Social Media, in 2016. She's been helping businesses of all shapes and sizes to stand out online on LinkedIn, Facebook, as well as Instagram and Google. Diana, thank you so much for being in my orbit and for joining me today on Couple O Conversations.
Likewise, I'm so happy because you are such a fantastic marketer. So I feel like we're going to talk about a lot of fun things.
We are. I have a lot to learn from you when it comes to social media, and that's what I wanted to talk to you about today. So before we dive into that, huge congratulations. This is your 8th year as a business owner, and having just started Couple O this past year, I have profound respect for what you've built and grown. And I want to know, did you always know you wanted to be a business owner?
Yes, definitely. Yes, it was a matter of which one. My grandfather owned a couple restaurants, and like he passed away a very 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 long time ago, like in the 50s. But I think it's just in my blood because then my uncle owned a business, my cousin owns a business, so it was always something that I wanted. And then I was lucky enough to just kind of align what my background was and what I enjoy doing with now owning a business. So I'm very grateful.
That's awesome. And so why social media? What gap did you see in the marketplace that you knew you could fill?
I think it was a matter of timing meets what I knew meets who was in my network. So when we started launch in 2016, social media was on the radar for businesses, but they didn't really know that you could hire a company to help you with it, or that it was such a good opportunity for small businesses to compete with bigger businesses. So my background had been, I worked at a very small advertising agency, and then when I was in sales, I was doing some like digital product sales, and then my last job at Oracle was selling like marketing software to really big companies, and social was one of them. And then I originally had a co-founder who was working for different agencies. She pretty much came up with the idea, and I was like, this is my moment, and I quit, and we took it and ran with it. So it just, all these things just kind of aligned, and mainly it was the businesses asking us, because we originally started as a blogging focused company or web content focused company, and then the businesses were asking like, can you post this to my Facebook, can you help me with LinkedIn? And we were like, yeah, we know how to do that, like we're millennials. Like I was like 26, 27, I was like, sure, I can do that. And then it turned into like the main requested service, and what we evolved into only a couple years into launch is really only focusing on social.
Wow, that's amazing. And I have to say, I'm in a business group right now with mostly business owners, and all of them, I mean, almost every other week that we meet, somebody is talking about how they wish they were better on social media. Oh, I know I should. I'm curious. It's like they're talking about eating broccoli, and I want to know, why do people struggle with it so much? Do you think it's a lack of discipline to be on it consistently, or do you think it's a lack of content, like ideas around how to contribute? What would you say is people's biggest struggle?
I would say if you boil broccoli, it's disgusting. If you grill it, it's delicious. So if you try maybe fitting different ways of social media into your life, and starting small and then building from there, it doesn't have to seem so intimidating, I suppose. So like I think it's a little intimidating for people. And I say that too as like owning a social media company, that before I hit publish on even my own posts, I have somebody on my team proofread it and read it for me and make sure that like I'm posting something that's like, I don't know, like I would for a client, like make sure it's accurate, make sure it goes through Grammarly, like make sure it's not doing anything for their business that they don't want to happen. Using the broccoli analogy, it's like when you first start cooking it, maybe you're boiling it and it tastes disgusting and it's gross. Then you start learning like, oh, the air fryer is good, or grilling it is good, or putting it like baking in the oven is good. Like add some different spices. Start small, maybe post like once or twice a month, and only when you have something like really thoughtful to say, maybe you were like all dressed up, you were at a conference, you were at an event, take a photo of like you and your team, or just you in front of like the sign, or you at your table, or even like your placemat or the stage, or like whatever, and post that with like a couple takeaways from the event. Or celebrate like somebody on your team, like an employee milestone, or share a case study, or reshare one of your clients' posts, and then add something to it about how you had worked on that team, or a teammate's post. Just like start small, and then don't be scared, and don't be like too hard on yourself, and keep it short, keep it friendly, and then just develop your skills from there.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point about like just start small. I think that it's like anything, to borrow another health analogy here. It's not easy to get off the couch and go run a marathon. You have to start walking, you have to start jogging, you have to start somewhere. And I found when I started Coupelo, starting to get out there on social media was really awkward. I had my husband read every single one of my posts, even my like really stupid memes or gifs. I just wanted to make sure they were funny enough. It can be really difficult when you're getting, especially kind of your feet wet with social media and trying to figure out how I want to sound online. I'd love to dive into growing an audience. So I'm only on LinkedIn. So I'd love to know more, because a lot of people are leveraging Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all these other platforms. How do you grow an audience, and is it different based on the platform that you're using? So is growing an audience on Facebook different than Instagram, different from LinkedIn?
Yeah. Yeah. So speaking probably for Facebook from a business company page standpoint, you can invite like your friends or your connections to follow the business page, but it's probably not going to be the people who are most likely to be your customers, especially like in the tech world. So for Facebook, we recommend running page like ads, and it's kind of like the easy way to do it. Like basically, you spend $100, maybe you'll get between like 100 to 200 followers. So $1 to 50 cents for somebody to follow like a very specific page like that. But within the targeting, you can target people with specific job titles too, and within the geography that you want. For Instagram, it's also tricky. You can run boost ads to get people to come back to your profile, hoping that with your targeting, they'll say like, "Oh, your page is interesting, and I work in the same industry. I'll follow. I like your content." And the same like cost per follow is about like $1. So you're not like buying likes, but you're running ads to get people to come back to your profile and follow you. The other way that we recommend building Instagram audiences is following people who follow similar accounts as your business, or say you are like a loan officer or a realtor, or like somebody where your business is really like a reflection of you personally. If you start following accounts, say you're following your target or like families. So following people who follow like the Hingham Library, or other like local restaurants or businesses, or say you have a more like active lifestyle audience, you're targeting people who follow like the local like fitness clubs in that area, or what have you. So you can kind of get creative, and then once you start going through other like accounts that you want more followers like those accounts have, it kind of leads you down a rabbit hole of like, oh well, then I found this new page and this new business that I never knew. And then you start following those people and hope that they follow you back. So I wouldn't recommend playing like the follow unfollow game. I think that as you start following people on Instagram, they follow you back. To just don't unfollow them, keep them, show the Instagram algorithm that you're interested in being connected with these people, and then scroll through your newsfeed and follow them back. So that's Facebook, Instagram. On LinkedIn too, for your company page, you can invite connections to follow your page. That's pretty much the only way that I would build up a LinkedIn following. And then Twitter or X is just like yelling into the void, and we've abandoned it. So good luck to X, but yeah, not on our audience recommendation list.
Yeah. So you mentioned paid advertising. I know you and I talked before this podcast a little while ago. I have a number of ideas of what I would like to do. I haven't taken the step yet. It's on my radar, but a lot of businesses, a lot of solo entrepreneurs probably don't even think to do paid advertising. It wasn't on my scope until you and I met, to be honest with you. I see the ads on LinkedIn to do it, but I am curious, how do you determine that it's the right time to do paid advertising? Is it always the right time for business owners, or is there kind of a window that you really like, based off of the cyclical nature of business or based off of the type of post you have? Like, I guess, how do you coach business owners, entrepreneurs, solo entrepreneurs through that process of going in the paid advertising route?
I would say it's always the right time because the LinkedIn ads are very cost effective, very cheap, and they've gotten a lot more cost effective, especially in the last few months and then the last year. So it's getting better and better and more competitive with Facebook and Instagram, very low cost ads. So I would say if you're a business, think about like your seasonality. I would spend, even if you spend $100 a month all year round. So people within those specific industries that you're targeting, job titles, seniority, the targeting is really detailed. Like you could target people who follow different LinkedIn groups, or they have interests, or they have member skills. So you can get very granular with who you're targeting. So maybe follow like seasonality, spend a little more during like what is typically like a customer's like buying season, or whenever their fiscal year is, or when they are making their budgets or putting out bids. And then, yeah, keep a baseline running because it's such a good opportunity. Even if you're just boosting, you're not running like really complex ads, but you're just boosting content, pick an objective to get more web traffic, or to get people to watch your video, or whatever your ad objective is. So I would say don't snooze on LinkedIn ads. They're great, and they're getting more and more popular and less expensive.
I am curious. A lot of business owners that I know are not on LinkedIn, which sort of is shocking to me because that's the only platform I'm on. It's the one I feel like business to business does very, very well. And it has the type of engagement that I'd be looking for. A lot of people have married themselves to Instagram and Facebook. And do you find that that's the case with your clientele, that they tend to be more on Facebook and Instagram versus LinkedIn? And would you encourage all business owners, because it's a business and professional platform, to be on LinkedIn?
Ooh, that's a great question. It really, it's funny because my gut instinct is like, oh, well, if you're a B2B company, you want LinkedIn. If you're more B2C, obviously like Facebook and Instagram. But it can also reflect like who's doing your marketing, what type of content do you have, because you could be in a, like we have one client does product design, and he's very focused on reaching the product designers who work at big cosmetic companies. And those people are easy to target on LinkedIn because of what groups they're in and their job titles, but they're like living on Instagram, and his product designs are so beautiful that when we make reels, like they do well on Instagram because they aesthetically look really great, but the targeting isn't that easy to do with those very specific job titles through Facebook and Instagram. So yeah, my gut instinct is like B2B, like focus on LinkedIn, but it can also be a reflection of who's doing the posting and the personality of your company, and what type of content is going to resonate with people the most. Like you might be B2B, but you're working with creatives, or you might have, I don't know, like a B2C company, but the majority of your target are like professionals with high household income, and they're using LinkedIn, and it ties back into your B2C company too. So it's variable.
I have gotten a lot of crap for not being on all social media platforms. LinkedIn is the one that, given that I'm in staffing, the bulk of my audience is almost entirely on LinkedIn. I don't find myself in need of going to Facebook or Instagram or Twitter for additional reach, but I can understand the benefit maybe of doing that eventually. But it seems like a distraction, and being such a small company, a company of two, I don't want to stretch myself too thin. So I'm curious, do you advocate for people to be on all social media platforms, or only the ones that are really conducive to their business so that they're not spreading themselves too thin?
Well, I would say first, congrats on your new hire. I think he'll work out great.
I hope so.
Yeah, I think so. I know it. And then it goes back to like how much time and effort you personally have too. Like you don't want to make social media like so overwhelming that you like freeze, or like you don't post, and then people are like, oh, do they go out of business? Like they haven't posted in months. So I think it's flexible to like where you feel most comfortable, where your network lives, where you have the most time to dedicate to like, oh, I really love making reels, or I like chopping up podcasts into clips, or I like to put out LinkedIn newsletters, or I get the most web traffic, or I feel like I can convey my message best through a LinkedIn post or what have you. So it's I want to tell people that there's really no wrong way to do social media, but then sometimes I see like awful posts and I take that back. But for the most part, I would say there's no wrong way to do social. It's just kind of like a reflection of you. And I think that's part of why people get so intimidated, because it's like your voice, like everyone can kind of be a critic, but to be like creating content, it can be a little nerve-wracking, but baby steps, doesn't have to warm up, build your skill set, and pick what platform fits for you the best.
We don't all knock it out of the park with everything in life. So I look at social media as no different. Even even your best might be someone else's worst, but it's better than nothing. I think even sometimes I definitely swing and miss, but I try and I learn from it and I grow. So to your point, I don't think there's a wrong way to do it. But going back to especially LinkedIn, because there's a lot of people I know that are going to be listening and people who are going to be seeing this on LinkedIn. How would you recommend that a business like mine leverage their business company page versus their personal page, especially when it's founder led? I tend to gravitate towards posting everything through mine and then sometimes sharing it and tagging the company or mentioning the company, I should say. But how do you encourage business owners to use their personal versus their company page on LinkedIn?
Ooh, I would say either way. Like if you are the face, like you are the product or the service of your company, I would say it's important to have a great personal LinkedIn account where you're connecting with new people. And if you're out speaking or you get quoted in something, like you're there, you're getting tagged, people can come to your profile, learn all about you, everything. As your company grows, and then you might bring on other people who are like client facing, or you might put them in like a business development role to have a strong company page that can also just mirror, like you don't have to do double the amount of work. You can just mirror your content on both pages. I think that there's a lot of value in having a strong company page, whether it's like in recruiting or just like employee recognition or advertising to get more clients to you, or more opportunities. I think that they're both good. So it depends on like your goals, objectives, and then the size of your company.
What do you think is the secret sauce that keeps people consistent with this? I have only been consistent with social media for the last 10 months, and I have found that the way I'm consistent is that I like it in its own right. So the things that I share, usually the podcast clips or if I write a newsletter, but I have to like it because I will tell you I've had definite flops where I get 2 likes on or no likes on something. Usually my husband Peter usually likes all my stuff, but so I know I get usually one. But I'm curious, how do you think people who I know this takes years, this can take years to cultivate. I guess what would you say is the secret sauce behind people being consistent with social media? Is it that they like it and they keep it up, or they look at it like eating broccoli and they know it's good for them and they just keep doing it? And so it's this kind of like necessary evil. What do you see? What do you see as I guess the like consistency key?
You can learn to love broccoli. I would say that there's a lot of like tools at your disposal to help you too. So on LinkedIn itself, there's you can schedule posts for later. So maybe you take an hour and a half each month and you schedule like 3 posts for the whole month. Maybe you're posting like once every week or so. There's also your best friend ChatGPT who can help you brainstorm ideas, or even just type in very like sloppily, like, I want to make a post about this, and then out comes a nearly good post that then you need to like fix and edit a little bit and make it less like a robot wrote it. But there's a lot of ways to um, get over that, like, I don't want to do this. And then the more that you do it, the easier it becomes, just like anything or any skill. But maybe the payoff of whatever your goal is, remembering why you started, maybe you want to start applying to like better jobs, start posting things that like better being, I want a pay bump, I want a title bump, I want better work-life balance, I want to switch industries, like whatever it is, start posting content that whoever might be looking at your resume and they go and check out your LinkedIn, hopefully they're doing that work, that they see you as like a thought leader and as passionate. And that's like a whole competitive advantage over like other candidates that even if you're applying to like grad school or a job or a promotion, or you want to use it for networking or getting more sales or whatever your objective is.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. So keeping that objective very front and center. And that's where I actually never schedule posts. So if I don't have a good idea, I don't write something. Like I try to be consistent when it comes to sharing the podcast clips, but if I have nothing, I'm not going to try to pull something out of my ass because I know it will be bad. Like I just know it will. And like, how do you balance that out of like this, I should do this 3 times a week versus I have nothing to say and I want it, I just don't want to force it. And I guess where do you walk that line? Because I imagine if you have these goals, sometimes you got to eat the broccoli, you got to lift the weights. Do you look at social media like that type of discipline?
I had a professor in UMass that told me if you're like afraid to do something, it probably means that you should be doing it. And I took that and ran with it, like for better or for worse. Speaking of AI, within LinkedIn, there's also something called Content Hub. So if you just like look in your browser, like Content Hub, it has like, it feels like an endless amount of topics. So like say you're like going through and you pick something random like blockchain or something, you can see a conversation happening around blockchain. So that could give you some ideas. And then if you're afraid to put out your own post, you could start commenting on those. You could use it to network. You could use it to find people who are like working in the industry that you maybe want to start working in. Connect with those people, send them like a thoughtful message, comment on their things, reshare their posts, or see what is like trending within that topic, and then create your own message around that. And say you can't like think of anything to say, like pose a question. There you could put up a poll. You could share like an anecdote. There's some ways to get creative without it being too much of like a time commitment, I suppose.
Yeah. So when you're working with a new client, especially one like walk me through your process for you've got a client in a very specialized industry, like one that you've never worked in, it's very unique. How do you learn enough about that industry to start, generating content around that? And then the secondary kind of tangential question here about that is so, how do you learn enough about their industry to be dangerous? And then, how do you develop enough of a voice with them, like making sure you sound like their voice and capture their brand when you're generating content on their behalf?
Yes. Yeah. When we start working with a new client, we ask a lot of questions. Like, what are your customers asking you the most about? What are like the biggest misconceptions that they have about your brand? You'll get back a lot of different types of answers. And then there's always like common themes between different businesses. So like as you're asking questions like that, like what's your seasonality? What's the buying cycle? What should we like stay away from? What legally can't you say? Like who's the demographic of your clients? Like whether you're working with like a bakery to an insurance agency to a health club to someone in cybersecurity, is like they're all kind of solving the problem for their customers. So then it's just a matter of like turning that answer that they have of the problem they solve or the pain points that they solve into a post that hopefully resonates with the people that they have. And then we get the voice from their website, their previous social media posts, like if they were happy with them and they liked them, and then just from the brands that they admire. And it could be another company, it could be an influencer, it could be a celebrity, it could be, I don't know, someone on Shark Tank, like you want to emulate, and we just kind of like adapt it. But yeah, it's really fun. Like I get people hopefully interested in social media, but really I think the word social media is on business owners' minds anyway, so I don't have to do very much. But then I have a team of amazing writers who are 100 times smarter than I am. So they go in and they really understand the different industries and the market and how the company works and what resonates. And then they turn out like amazing content that would take me 7 hours and they can do it in like 4. So or 3. So it's like 8 years. There's, what kind of works on social media, and it's not like very exclusive to one industry or not.
That's great. Well, with that in mind, I guess a lead-in question here is, what do you wish people knew about social media? What do you feel like is such a common misunderstanding or misconception from especially business owners when it comes to social media? I know we talked about a lot today, but if I didn't know if there was a few things that we were like, man, I wish people knew this.
Yeah, I would say I wish that they knew you can hire somebody to do it. You could get good at it yourself. The ads are just so cheap that for a business owner, like you could spend $100 and get a few like 100 new visitors over to your website, or you could spend $100 and reach like 3,000, 5,000 people within your target demo, and you could reach them every month with something interesting. I think that people have their own, I don't know, like preconceived thoughts about social media. And what I hear most about is like some business owners will be like, I don't want to dance. Like they say I have to be on TikTok and I don't want to dance. And I'm like, you don't have to dance. That's a huge misconception. Like you don't have to dance. You don't have to put out like strange clickbaity content. Like if you go viral, it's probably among the wrong audience. So just be your brand, promote it to people who are interested in your brand. You're not going to be interesting to everyone unless you're at the bakery. Like who doesn't love cakes and desserts? But yeah, just put together what is a reflection that you want people to know, and then like don't dance. Like you're okay. You can. Or we can make a nice video of just graphics and photos or video clips. Like it's not as scary as you think.
Perfect. I appreciate the blessing to not have to start dancing. This is
No,
great.
no,
um,
you
my last
can.
question. I can, yeah. So I have your blessing to do either way, but I'll stay. I still haven't gotten on TikTok yet, so I'll stay on cool. But my last question for you today is, in light of the fact we're still not halfway through 2024, what has been and what still is top of mind for you for this year, and when are you going to Spain next?
Oh, Spain to be determined. Spain is very hot in the summer, so I don't have it in me to do another summer in Spain. It doesn't even get cool at night. You're just hot for like 2 or 3 months.
I love
Um,
it.
yeah, so Spain, hopefully like September, October. But for the rest of this year, yeah, I just have like some side projects. I think my company launch has gotten to a point where we've picked up like our book of business already. So now we're just working with the existing client base that we have. So that frees up some of my time to start thinking about like expansion within my company and services, and like me learning new skills. And I'm like so excited about that because owning a business, your brain is like fried for like 4 or 5 years until you hit a point where you're like, oh, it's working. I can relax. Like it's good. So now I have like free time and space in my brain, and my stress level is decreasing very slowly. So I'm excited to just like learn something new and try out what could be like an additional not like division of launch, but like a supplementary or complementary business line. So yeah, I'm excited. How about you? How's the rest of your year looking?
Oh, I never get asked questions on this. I'm so excited. Peter just joined Couple full time, and I can't even tell you, Diana. Like, I didn't know I was white knuckling it, but I mean, my eye twitch went away. That's a good sign. And I just feel like he was always involved, but now even more so sharing in the the burden and the joy of the business. And I feel like we're on the cusp of something quite big. And now I'm not alone. I wasn't ever alone, but I kind of felt that way. So I am very optimistic about the latter half of this year. And we've got some other personal, like really exciting things coming around the bend. So it's a lot like this is going to be a hell of a year.
Yay. Oh, I love that. And really like having two brains is so much better and easier and more fun than one. Like it's so hard to build a business on your own, and to have somebody who's like so invested and like working just for the profits, not a pressure of an extra like salary on top of it, is like such a, I think it's like a huge advantage for a new company. So yeah, I'm
I
excited to
agree.
see what happens too.
Oh, well, thank you. And thank you for joining me today on Couple of Conversations. I'm so excited for people to hear what you had to say about all different types of platforms because like I said, I have my one little corner of the world and LinkedIn. And so you taught me a lot, even about LinkedIn that I didn't know. And I'm excited to take back today. And so I'm excited for people to hear that. And also, huge congratulations on everything, like I said, that you've managed to do. I have just such profound respect for what you've done with your big brain and what you have coming around the bend with this other potential service offering or auxiliary thing that you're building out. So I can't wait to hear about that. So thank you again, Diana, for joining me today.
Likewise, thank you.